stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So 3.0, approval of the agenda, additions or deletions. I need a motion.
I'll second the motion.
I'll second.
Carmel? Okay. Okay. Any discussions, questions there? Not those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. 4.0, public comment is none. I should have done that before. Here we are in front of parliamentarians, and I already made my first mistake, all right? All right. So let's go down to communication report 6.0, and we'll start with the, did we miss 5? Oh, I'm sorry, I did.
You were good.
I was on the right track. Okay, consent agenda. I will need a motion for that.
Madam Chair, I need to abstain from voting as I have a family member listed.
Okay, that's fine. I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda. Anybody else have a
I'll stay.
second? There we go. John, any questions or concerns there? Looks like we got student coaches.
Just the appreciation of the folks that are leaving the district. Looks like Jim's retiring. I was hoping he's here tonight.
He wasn't good enough.
But yeah, thanks to the service of those folks.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, that carries. All right, now we're down to 6.0, communication report. So we've got with us the FFA Parliamentary Procedure Team. Welcome. So go ahead, do your thing.
All right, so I think I'll just have them each introduce themselves first. So if you want to start.
I'm Izzy Gora, I'm the Sentinel.
Elizabeth Johnson, Treasurer. I'm Keely Janish, Reporter. Lillian Pauling, the President. Ellie Bosch, the Secretary.
Haley Shamla, Vice President.
Of course, Ben Johnson, the advisor. So they actually aren't these positions in FFA, they're just for the competition. They've each been assigned a role. So I'm going to let them go ahead and flip their cards over. In front of you, you should have what they are actually going to be discussing. So I'm going to give them just like a minute to write as I quick overview it. So at a competition, they'll get a motion, which you can see on there, and then they don't know ahead of time, but I highlighted one of the other motions that they have to do. So one person will have to amend, one will have to do parliamentary inquiry and so forth, right? And so they have to know all the different rules, of Robert's rules, and just be prepared at a competition. They wanted to do opening ceremony, so we'll start with opening ceremonies. It won't take very long. And then we're going to shorten it up. So each of them are going to do one motion, one debate. When they're debating how they are scored, they have to have an opening statement. They need to have then 3 solid points, and then a closing statement, just how you can get maximum points for a debate. And of course, they are trying to persuade each other to go different ways, so like regular meeting would. Okay? If you have any questions at the end, we can do that. Otherwise, once Luann is ready, I guess we can start.
Yeah, well, they're still writing.
Yes.
Can you share how successful this
Oh,
team
sure.
was? Yeah.
This was, I think, for Parley, our most successful year so far. We finished 3rd in the state this year, which I think is pretty impressive. It's very tough competition. Ours used to be the most difficult region to compete in because we have 2 powerhouses in Dassel, Cokato, and Litchfield. But we were first in our region, so we beat both of them to advance to the state. And then I don't even remember who beat us there, but someone was asking too earlier, I think Julie, it was you that was asking about, is there classes and stuff? No, in FFA, we go up against all sizes of schools, right? It doesn't matter, so we go up against the largest schools in the state, and there's no difference like sports, so. Yep. And CCM also, the young ones, 7th through 9th, also were 3rd in the state this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the McRae FFA chapter. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel, stationed by the door. Your duties there. Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and they are welcome. I care for meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the president in maintaining order.
The reporter. The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, shines by the form, the people, and for every man, woman, and child. The FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer, stationed at the emblem of Washington. Your duties there. I keep a record of receipts and disbursements just as Washington kept his farm account, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent. The Secretary,
Stationed by the ear of corn.
your duties there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor,
Here by the owl.
why by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I have to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Madam Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization under absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. Oh, jeez.
It's been a while.
It usually has. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the McCray FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Madam Secretary, what is our first order of business? A parliamentary procedure invite. Members, you have heard the subject. What is your pleasure?
Madam President,
Madam Sentinel.
I move that the McCray FFA chapter hosts a parliamentary procedure invite for the state of Minnesota on Monday, November 16th.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that our McCray FFA chapter host a parliamentary procedure invite for the state of Minnesota on Monday, November 16th. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Madam Sentinel.
I encourage all members to vote in favor of this motion because it would help us demonstrate our skills to the public. It would provide us with good feedback that we can use in competition, and it would bring us together so we can meet some of the people in our same comp and get advice from them. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam President. Madam Reporter. I'm against this motion. People are in sports, so they might not be able to come. Secondly, Monty already hosts one, so why would we do one when we live right next to him in our region? And thirdly, you're getting ready for our CDEs and our students into practice so they do well in them. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote against this motion. Is there any further debate on the main motion?
Madam President,
Madam Treasurer.
I encourage members to vote for this motion, as we have plenty of room to host this event. Secondly, we have no school today, that day, so it would work really well for our school to host it. And thirdly, we can ask people like Dessa, who is a state officer, to contact people who would have all the contacts of all these schools to get them here on that day. This is why I encourage all members to vote for this motion.
Is there any further debate?
Madam President,
Madam Sentinel.
I move to amend this motion by striking the words November 16th and adding the words June 8th.
Second. It has been moved and seconded that we amend the motion by striking the words November 16th and inserting the words June 8th, so if passed would read, I move that our McCray FFA chapter host a parliamentary procedure invite for the state of Minnesota on Monday, June 8th. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Madam Sentinel.
I encourage all members to vote in favor of this amendment because we have no school then, as well as no event, so it'd be easier for people to get to our event. Secondly, we have more open spots to host since there's less activities going on. And thirdly, we have more ways of transportation since, again, bus drivers won't be having a lot of things to do. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote in favor of this amendment.
Madam President.
Madam Secretary.
I encourage all members to vote against this amendment because it is after school is out, which is going to make it so much harder for us to get this coordinated. Secondly, state is already over with and done, so a lot of teams are going to be looking for that break in between their competition time. And also, it is going to be extremely hard for us to contact more schools saying that they're out of school. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote against this amendment.
Madam President,
Madam Vice
I
President.
move that we take a 5-minute recess for informal discussion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we take a 5-minute recess for informal discussion. Are there any amendments to the length of the time?
Hearing none, we will now proceed to a vote on this recess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion failed. We will now proceed back to the amendment. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Madam Reporter.
I am against this motion. People are busy on vacations in the summer at the lake. Secondly, we are busy setting up for our fair, which a lot of our kids are in. And thirdly, we also have our summer trip, so we will be busy and not even be here. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote against this motion.
Is there any further debate on the amendment?
Madam President,
Madam Treasurer.
I raise the parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What vote is required to pass an amendment?
Majority. We will now proceed to a vote on the amendment. All in favor of this amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion failed. We will now proceed back to the main motion, which reads, I move that our McRae FFA chapter host a parliamentary procedure invite for the state of Minnesota on Monday, November 16th. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Madam Secretary.
I move to refer this motion to our planning, or summer activities committee.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we refer this motion to our summer activities committee. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Madam Secretary.
I encourage all members to vote for this referral because they would better be able to contact other schools and teams to get them in here and competing. Secondly, they would also be able to contact our judges, which is going to be another hassle for all of us. And they are better able to find out a specific date and rooms that are best going to work for this competition. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote for this referral.
Madam President,
Madam Vice President.
I encourage all members to vote against this amendment because as the head of committees, I know that our committees are very overloaded right now. Secondly, we would need to see if there's even any interest in doing this. And thirdly, I believe that our officer team can plan this the best. For these reasons, I encourage all members to vote in favor against this amendment.
Madam President,
Madam Reporter.
I move previous question.
Second. Previous question has been called. We will now proceed to a 2/3 rising vote on the previous question. All in favor, please rise. Thank you. You may be seated. We will now proceed to previous question passed. We will now proceed to a vote on the referral. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion failed. We will now proceed back to the main motion. Is there any debate? Hearing none, we will now proceed to a vote on the main motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion passed. Madam Secretary, do you have record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Madam President.
Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
So again, that's a very shortened version. Normally, they would have to do 2 motions each, and they would have to do 4 debates each, and all that has to be done within 11 minutes. So it's
For reference, we did 1 motion and 1 debate each. And
primarily, some have to do 2 debates just to make it
I
work.
did
but-
2
I did
motions.
Good job.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here, very much appreciated.
Yep.
So how long have you all been in here?
Most of us have been doing Parley since 8th grade together.
So, yeah, like the same
Yeah,
team
you all.
since 8th grade.
Yeah, except for Elizabeth, she's a senior, so she would have been on the previous teams, and then we graduated most of that, so our younger team had to move up to the Parley level, and so this group was together in that, so, yeah.
It's impressive.
And next year, we'll see, we're gonna have a problem next year, we have too many, so there's actually gonna be 3 or 4 that won't get to compete, which is unfortunate, but that's what it is. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Yep, thank you.
All right, that was impressive, okay. Administrative reports. Jim's not here, we do have his written report there. And I guess congratulations to those band students on that solo and ensemble competition in Benson there. And again with BPA, we've got 2 students going to that, yeah, Rachel Stevenson and Harris Donna, congratulations to them. And we've got the coaches listed there and the volunteers, so, okay, any other comments on?
Jim has a note on here to confirm we're able to move forward with cashless entry. I was not at last month's meeting, but is that something we need to approve?
He just wants to make sure it's okay. We don't want anybody to ever be surprised.
That's a new
you know.
outfit that we're doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
We did talk about it, but we also talked, if somebody came with cash, we'd have something like, is it Granite Falls or another
There's-
school
he's
that
gonna
had a
always-
swipe card?
Yeah,
That
typical
or-
cars always run through that.
And he'll have some cash until people get used to it.
Okay.
He reiterated that nobody would ever be turned away.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Figure out how to get in.
And
Yeah.
as a conference as a whole, it sounds like most people are switching over to the same,
Company.
company
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So then, from a consistency standpoint, for folks that travel,
Sure.
it's not different at every single school.
Well, if everyone's doing it at the same time, it will help too,
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Is that okay? Any concerns as long as everybody gets in? Is that? Okay, I'll share that.
Right, yeah, I think we're
Thank
good with that, right.
And I think it's just good to have that communicated, so people do come in and they're like, oh my gosh, all I have is cash, but they don't have a
Yeah,
Right,
bit or anything.
right.
just
Maybe a nice
welcoming,
little sign.
To let those people that are working know that they
I've
can
heard
remind
of people
people.
getting into a gym and then not having Wi-Fi, or, not
Yeah,
having
yeah.
signal, and then,
Yes.
fumbling, trying to,
Yeah.
get their tickets, so.
And just so you guys know, Jim's position has been posted. It'll be posted again all this week, so it was all last week, all this week, and on Monday is the first time we'll start looking at applicants, but there is 6 people already have applied. So a decent turnout, and then hopefully this week we'll continue to get some more, like we got one today.
Good. Okay, Todd, you're next.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. We'll see if we can get the clicker to work. So I'll just kind of run through some of the highlights from the past month and a half, and then we'll kind of focus on our 3rd grade class. So about a month ago, we did our kindergarten registration and our preschool registration. So a great chance to get families in our building, meet the staff, look at the classrooms. And then we took advantage of the new background banner and the table covering and set up a signing day. So we had kind of a certificate for the kids to sign. We had a big crayon for them and let them know that it locks them into the next 13 years here at the grade. It's definitely binding, and we're pretty excited to have about 80% of our kids signed up so far, and we'll start to reach out to the rest of the families in the next few weeks here and try to get the rest of them signed up as well. So excited about that. We had our DARE graduation on the 1st. Deputy Sean Joyce does a great job. He comes out to our classrooms, works with each class separate. They do some lessons, but also a lot of kind of interaction, role playing, so they get a chance to kind of talk their way through peer pressure and how they're going to make those good choices, and then they write a DARE essay. And it's always fun to hear those kids share those. I think some were in the newspaper as well, so just a really funny event for us there. We finished up the MCA Academy as well. Last year we had 27, this year we had 26, so that's always fun. That's not what you're seeing there, that's not the MCA Academy, but we're going to get to that in a second. So we're excited that those kids put in those 14 extra sessions, ended with a fun pizza party and kind of getting them ready for the MCA test, which start this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and then some wrap up on Friday for reading, and then next week it'll be math, the same kind of format. So. For March, one of the big events that takes place is the Read Across McRae. You can see in the top left, and you'll see this in the video towards the end as well. Under 92,000 minutes, so the kids just do a great job. Renee Westbrook does a great job of putting up big kind of charts that show where each class is at, so they're always excited when they come back each day to kind of see the gains that they've made. And then the teacher that, you can see him getting silly spray, the student that has read the most in each class and gets to silly spray their teacher. And then the top readers in each grade get to, in this case, make a sundae on Janet Rat's head. He did shave and both his beard and his head to make it a little bit easier for him, but it still was awful messy. And then the McCray Parents Club brought in a guest author, which was just a blast for the kids. And that is Kevin Lovegreen, who came in and did a presentation for 2 different groups. So he did kind of a K2 and then a 3, 4, 5, and then he also went into classrooms, and we'll see some of that as well. So a real fun chance for the kids to hear his story. Now he started to write. I don't know if any of your kids read it, but he does a lot of kind of outdoor stuff. So his own pheasant trips, or salmon fishing in Alaska, or ocean fishing in Florida, so a variety of things. And then he talked about kind of the creative writing that goes along with it. So a lot of fun for the kids to see that. And then, there he is in the classrooms. He stopped in, the classrooms could sign up, and he would come in and kind of do a mini lesson for them, and they'd write their own stories. So this is the second time that we've had an author. Kevin is the first one that we had in person. We had one this fall where they did it kind of virtually. So, and then he was more an illustrator, so then he helped the kids kind of illustrate their own stories. So kind of a real fun chance for the kids to kind of get that exposure to writing and then illustrating. We did our second wrap up for the Wolverine Way. So those are the students that were selected. This time they were selected by either the STEAM teacher, music teacher, or Fayette. So the first time was a classroom teacher. We'll do another classroom teacher, and then we'll do some wild card ones as well. So if there's someone that a staff member just really feels strongly about, we'll add them in as well for the third time of the Wolverine Way. Just to kind of highlight that, we've had, up to that point, 2,157 Pride tickets. So that's a lot, and less than 100 behavior referrals. So, that's kind of PBIS at its finest. So we're really making an effort to recognize that good behavior and reinforcing those skills and traits. So still working on kind of those Pride categories that go along with it. First grade did kind of a dress-up day. Their theme was, what do you want to be when you grow up? So at the end of that study then, they came dressed to school as kind of their future profession. And it just happened that it was a DARE day. So Deputy Joyce was in, so we wanted to get a picture with those guys because a couple of them were in police officer uniforms. So, and that gets us to our class of 2035. So there's kind of a look at that. At the time that we collected this data, we had 62. Right now, that class is down to 60. We had a student move and one that decided to homeschool for the last part of the school year. You can kind of see a breakdown of where we're at. Bottom right, just want to point out, our attendance overall is still really good, at 94.4%. That's extremely high. And that's despite of 10 kids that have missed a lot. So it kind of points out that 50 kids are really, really, really consistent about being here. And it's those 10 kids that we're constantly working with to try to encourage attendance, because that's a direct link to kind of their outcomes at school. So at 3, parents get called, and again, it's based on unexcused, but these are going to be total. So at 3, a parent would get a call to kind of notify them they're at 3. At 7, a meeting is set up, and also the county gets notified. So you can see we've got some kids that we've met with parents, we've talked about the need to be in school. We've got the county involved with that process as well. If you miss 10% of the school year, then you are considered habitually truant, and we report that to the state. So that would be students that are at 15, and we have 2 in that class that are already there. So, so those are kind of the struggles that we have. Overall, really good, but still there's some challenges that come along with that. So, all right, I'm going to go through this a little bit more before you hit play there with it. And then in your packets, you have the FastBridge score. So as 3rd graders, they haven't taken the MCAs yet. So they'll be taking that this week. So the data that we have will be from last year's FastBridge and then this year's FastBridge. And we're seeing a lot of the same things that we talked about last time with our 4th graders. And that's kind of stagnant in that second part. So you can see fall, winter, spring with a little dip, and then high in fall. Now, we mentioned last time that the expectations are a little bit lower in fall, and then it gets higher and higher, so the rigor goes up for winter and spring. If we want to look for, if we're going to mine for gold here, if we want to find the positive, I think it shows that that we are doing a good job of enforcing those basic skills because they're holding over that long break. So when we're coming back in the fall, we still have those skills that we need, so some really good carryover. What we need to focus on is just trying to get that rigor from fall to winter to be consistent. And part of that comes with, it's year 2 of open courts, so every year that we use it, we're gonna get better at it. And then just understanding the new standards that go along with that as well. You'll notice our math scores are a little bit higher, so you can see the fall we came back at 72%, so that's really good. And then a little dip in winter, but still at 64, so. And then the last part kind of focused on how they feel about coming to school at McRae. 93% of them feel safe. 95% have that connection with their teachers. Super proud, 100% try their best to follow the Wolverine way. 93 proud to be a student at McRae. 98 that have a strong friend group. And then the same one that I think Deb had asked about last time. We're still a little bit low on that kind of community connection, you know, do I feel like I belong at school? And those are things that we started to talk about with our staff. We're gonna look at maybe how we do our morning check-in. Are there ways we can build that sense of community? Maybe reaching out and doing kind of a buddy system with some of the middle school and high school kids from time to time, just to expand that group to get out of just your grade level. But definitely an area we'd like to see go up. And we are looking at ways that we can help those kids feel more connected, not just to their class, but to their grade level as well. So we are aware that we can do better there. So.
Do you know what it is they think of, about being, I mean, how they answer that question, you know what they're thinking about?
No, and those are things that we can address through character ed each week, but we don't know which kids check it either, so it's tough to kind of get a grasp on that. But those are lessons that we can talk about. There's social stories that we can do to try and dig a little bit deeper and find that out. But you know, it's good data to have, because that kind of what guides our social and emotional learning. So.
It just seems unusual when they rank so highly with having friends and liking
Yeah,
their teachers and everything, and then all of a sudden they don't feel like they belong. I go, well, what?
So, yeah, and
I didn't
You
know
also
I-
have 10 kids that have missed over 15 days of school, maybe that makes me feel like I don't belong, you know, and
Yeah,
who knows what's
maybe.
going on with that.
Right,
I think there's a
right.
lot of factors that are hard to say, which
Yeah.
would be consistent with this
Yeah.
number.
that percentage. Yeah.
How many sections do we have of this class?
Right now 3. So that's a pretty big class. That's kind of that and 4th grade are kind of our last big ones that are coming through when we get close to that 60, and then we start to see that drop that happens after
I
that. So
noticed they also have, almost a quarter of the kids have special ed needs also, so that,
there's a high percentage, you know.
is that pretty predominant with most of the grades, that higher percentage, or?
I have to look to see exactly what the percent is and let you know how. That one is, no, honestly, that's about where we're at across the board. There are some grades that are gonna be lower. Good luck with your testing. Especially like, often in a first, second, sometimes those grades are a little bit lower. We start to identify them later.
Good night.
I think that's just something as we move forward and thinking about how many sections, if we've got that many of our kiddos that are in special ed, how do we ensure that those class sections are small enough to meet those needs?
Meet those needs as well, absolutely. Yeah.
And one other thing is that we're adding special ed teachers next year. So, hopefully if the applicants do a nice job, instead of having a tester, we're putting another person into the classroom and hiring another special ed to try to get those numbers down pre-K-12 as well, because we're seeing there's more of a need.
Are we doing that in
Yeah.
combination then with also looking at least 20, maybe, or 21 class size?
Yeah, you wanna do that now?
Sure, go ahead.
Yep, so, here's our current, so on the left, you're gonna see our current class sizes, and then next year's projection. Now this, what this doesn't show is that people move in after we start school, so you'll see that in the 5th grade, they started with 49, and now they have 53. So next year, you can see there was an adjustment made to add, make fifth grade stay at 3. But third grade only has 46, so they're at 23 and 23 now, as of Friday, right? The last time we counted. So as kids come and go, it changes a little bit, but you can see our K1 and 2, the average class size is 15 and 16. And then between third and fifth grade, well, fourth and fifth are under, 20 or under, but third grade's currently at 23, but if we get, some more students we could add, but that way, we didn't let any teachers go, we kept the same sections, but Todd's been really good about analyzing where we'll be,
So hindsight's always 20/20.
yes.
Fifth grade, 26 to 27.
Yep.
Did we address that and why? What
Yeah,
did we
so
not
it
do?
started at 49, and it was once the school year started, which means displacing students once they've already met their teacher in their student group.
But that's 25 in the classroom, 39.
Yeah. So
That's
the
a lot.
25 and 24. So, and Todd, you said third, fourth, and fifth, kind of the average has been going by, and it's real consistent if we went back, but this is, since Todd's been here, is third, fourth, and fifth, 51 is kind of the key for 3 sections, and they were right there at 49. And now next year we're at 46. A week and a half ago it was 48, so like we said, it's gonna be fluid, we know students come and go, but it's something we're monitoring. But when we started this process, the key was to make sure our students with special needs, those caseloads, get down as well, and we had some people that were high. So that's why we put the extra resources in for those students to help.
So when is the cutoff, like when will we make a decision like about the third grade then?
So those have been made for this year, but we can
For
hire.
next year?
Yep,
I'm looking at the,
so everybody's been notified currently, and we've already hired 2 teachers, but if it grows, then we can add up until the first day of school. I mean, we can add after, but ideally you wanna add before the first day of school. But as of now, we won't decrease unless something drastic happens. These teachers have all been notified and we've hired, and these are our projected class sizes of now, but Todd is actively watching the third grade.
How do our numbers compare to area districts like districts?
The same or lower on many cases. As you look through it, our K1, 2 are small, but the READ Act, the goal is to read well by third grade. So we're trying to keep those classes as small as possible and have as much help there as well. So last year when we did make that reduction of 1 staff, we looked at where to do it, and even though those classes were smaller, I didn't want to make that cut. So we looked at our smallest class of 3, 4, 5, and that was 5 at 49. I know we take a lot of pride in having really small class sizes. Even at 53 or 4, that's really small for 5th grade. It wouldn't be uncommon to see some of our schools that are close to us that are going to be high 20s, even 30s in 5th grade, and then in middle school, 5th and 6th grade. So we're sitting pretty well. And I can put together data if you want to look at, and I talked to Mr. Holman about this, who are we trying to draw kids from? So we look at Wilmer, Granite, Montevideo, KMS. We want to be comparable or less than those schools, and we are. So that's kind of what drives the decisions that I'm making, is where do we want to attract kids from, and then how do we compete with those schools? So.
I appreciate hearing that. Also, this is timeframes that precedes both of you, but during our referendum that we had, we were very clear with our community that we would have small class sizes. And I've been called quite a bit about the 5th grade class this year, that there were 27 in there. And people are like, we were told there would be small class sizes, and that's not small enough. So I think we really need to be true to our word also.
Well, and I agree, and the tough part when they started, like we said, was 49. We just need to reiterate to them, we want to focus on small class sizes, but once school starts to disrupt a group, and then why was I the one getting moved? It's really, the family thinks it's personal, even though it's not. I mean, we use a program, that analyzes, we can do that at another meeting, but it analyzes everything we can about a learning community and does it the most impartial way. And even that gets criticized because, you know, my daughter had Adam, my son had Adam, my aunt's kids had Adam, this child better get Adam, and the data's saying, no, you don't get Adam. But Todd works with all those families, and it was impressive this fall to hear the stories and how we negotiated it, so, that's kind of, that we take the human element currently out of it, but it's still part of it.
It is nice to see that we can balance them out easier than we could when we were used to mass there, you know, that's,
But we are watching.
yes.
And please call though with any questions about it, because I like to talk, because I don't know, I know 9 months of history. Todd knows a year and 9 months of history. So we appreciate, you can always just call Todd, he'll tell me, but I appreciate hearing that, because that's a new perspective.
I'll just put a plug in for our support staff as well. So our special ed staff does a great job, but we also have special ed paras that we push in for tier 1 instruction, so they're in there for reading and math. We have title that takes in win time, so they're with our bottom groups. So very seldom is there one teacher in the classroom with those kids. It wouldn't be uncommon to walk in and see 3 adults with those kids. So a special ed para, a title para, and a classroom teacher. So we're working really hard to make sure that we can get those kids into smaller groups and work on those specific skills. So. And they do a really good job of that. So.
And with that, Todd's taking over, partnering with the teachers, but more or less taking over where the paras will be when. So it's more spread out, more, you know, people actually in the classrooms where they need to be.
You haven't always done that? You,
Scheduled it? No.
okay.
No.
That'll be new coming up. In partnership with the teachers.
Who's done that in the
The
past?
teachers, right?
Special ed staff has kind of rotated them through, but it creates, when each teacher has a set group, it kind of, you get times when there's not enough and times when you have too many, because you're not looking at all of them. So we're trying to take a look at where their skills are at. So example, a para that's really gifted in 5th grade math, we want that person in all the 5th grade math sections. And someone that's good at reading in all the reading sections, so they can develop those skills and that rapport with the teacher. Right now, it's likely that it's someone different for all of those. So, and it's a struggle because we still need help when we do pullouts. So there's going to be a lot of work to get that schedule in place. But I think it's going to be a real benefit for both our kids and for our staff. So
I would think that those parents would like that, being able to
Yeah.
do
Yes.
things 3 times rather than something
Yeah.
new every hour.
especially if you're doing a small pullout with 3 kids, you can be doing that same lesson 3 times. Yeah. And then it's run, right? This last month and a half, we have field trips. We've already started some. We have MCA tests, spring concert, book fairs coming up, Ag Day is coming up. We have a 5th grade formal lunch, which is just a blast. These kids dress up. They get waited on. They get a chance to act like they're going out to a restaurant. I think Chicken Kiev, I asked for lobster and steak because I knew that we had some extra money in our lunch account, but Julie told me no. But Chicken Kiev is going to be on the menu for that day, and then dessert as well. And then we wrap it up with our track and field day. So a lot of fun things coming up for us. Oh, and now the big, yeah, I took too much time, didn't I? So you'll see Brandon talking about, who's one of our MCA Academy teachers, and then Renee and Alexa are going to talk about Read Across and parades.
So MCA Academy is basically extra help for students, preparing them to get ready for the MCAs, which is coming up here in a couple weeks. This is our first year in 3rd grade that these guys are going to be taking it. So basically what it is we use our Fast Bridge scores from the fall and the winter, and we kind of use that as a database point to see which students could benefit from the extra practice. So Tuesdays and Thursdays after school from 3:45 to 4:45, I've had about 6 to 7 students that'll stay after. And we'll split that time up, and we will do reading for like the first half hour, second half hour math, and then if we have extra time, we will play some sort of game just to make it fun. But, so I use, there's a website right on Minnesota State Education, where they use past passages from reading and math questions that we will use, and we'll go over that, read the passage for the reading part, answer the questions, and then same thing for the math. So then we'll break it into specific skills too, where if it's like cause and effect for reading or math, we need help with the geometry portion or maybe multiplication for our facts. So a lot of extra practice for those kids. So it's been pretty good. I know Todd came up with this, or Mr. Bertram came up with this last year. This is our second year. I believe we had a pizza party last week for kind of a celebration. I think we had roughly 30 kids. So I think the numbers are pretty good. Usually third grade probably has the lower turnout just because this is the first year that they're going to be doing the MCAs. So hopefully we can continue to do that and the numbers will grow. So yeah, overall it's been pretty good.
So is the pizza party the main motivator for the kids?
I would say so, yeah. I've had a couple that'll come and be like, oh, we only have 3 more sessions until the pizza party or whatever. So yeah, it's good. But they work hard. I know it's at the end of the day too, it can get kind of long, but they put in really good effort and they're trying, so they're doing a nice job.
Read Across America / Read Across McRae and our readathon going together. We have 2 weeks of activities and things. Ms. Yeager's going to talk about that here in a second. We read 192,487 minutes combined from preschool all the way up to the 5th grade. We raised over $13,000, and that money goes to pay for lyceums, author visits, field trips, kindergarten new shirts, new student shirts, McRae Day Friday, and tons of other various activities throughout the year.
The readathon falls in the perfect part of the year where things we're in the dead middle of the year and everything kind of feels stagnant. So I think it's a good way for both teachers and students to be a part of a competition. They love seeing their minutes go up when we pull it up on the screen, they love watching the minutes go up. This year we had the author visit, which the students really did love. Someone coming in and sign from books that they read in the library. Motivation part comes from the competition that it is. So they are reading towards either stringing their teachers or making, this year was Matt, our janitor, into a ice cream sundae. And then there's other little prizes of like their class can get like ices or freezies, a movie or hat day.
Kids really look forward to it every year. They ask when the readathon and the Read Across McRae is going to happen because they know that in the end, after a few weeks, they get to have a little fun in an assembly that gets to show all their hard work.
So she'll create a little PowerPoint slide to go over how many minutes they read, how much money was raised. Then there's the slideshow and also includes names of the top readers, the top class, minutes of each grade level, who donated the most money, and then it goes into the winners of each grade level. So either we'll silly string their teacher, or we'll dump ice cream toppings on top of Matt.
You're welcome.
How do we do compared to other grade levels?
I really don't.
I'd rather.
So any questions for Mr. Bertram?
So where did the money come from? They said they raised money. What organization is?
Well, Parents Club does it.
Okay.
And they go through kind of a third party.
Okay.
And then families can send in money to that. And then most of that comes back to Parents Club. And then they use that to fund a lot of the activities that they do. Like they mentioned the author.
Okay.
They did planetarium this fall. T-shirts for all the kindergartners, all the new kids get that. Field trip, money donations. Books, they did book bingo, they didn't mention that, but that first day every kid gets a book, so things like that come back to us.
Looks like we have second place here.
So this is part of my,
Oh, this is part of yours, well, go ahead.
we're gonna start with, we went to a creative writing group seminar, and 20-plus students got to go. 10 kids signed up to represent McRae, and this is our highest place winner, as in the 5th and 6th grade division. She wrote a fictional story. We typically don't say the names of the kids in the picture, but if the dad wants to say her name, but she's also was our spelling bee champion, so very fortunate that she chooses to do that and puts herself out there along with our other students, but she did very well, finishing in second place. So. And then Katie's not here, but our community ed program is just growing. It's exciting. And part of community ed, as you heard, is one of our instructors is also a board member. This is the karate or taekwondo, the black belt testing. So you can see some of our winners. All of his family but one is now a black belt, and they all passed on that night, and the other daughter is a red belt. So he doesn't get to see all these fun pictures, but here's, I believe, the whole class, and then the other people that help with community ed. And it's just another opportunity for our students to get involved in lifelong activities. So that's our community ed. Here, another community ed that we do is the community garden, and I'm sure everybody knows about that, but they had a big meeting and disseminated the plots, and you can see it's all organized, but the kitchen decided that they would like a plot this year, and they're gonna raise items that we can then serve to our students and faculty as a way to promote healthy, farm to table. Instead of going to the local farmers, we'll have it right here grown on our campus. So that's that. And then the highlight, I didn't know if you guys saw, the grad rates are out. You can see, last year they wanted us to go to this wonderful meeting, but our 5-year average, we know we're over 90%, but this year, last year's graduates was 97.9. But we know a fluctuation of 1 or 2 is big for us, but last year, you can see we were off the charts. So a lot of good things are going. Our students are graduating, they're feeling happy about themselves and their experience. As you can see from the surveys from the different class groups, our students are doing very well. And any questions for me? No? And then lastly is our update, science opening. No, I was worried about science, we're early. But I wanted to be early so we get out. We now have over 3 candidates applied. They should hopefully be interviewing on Friday of this week or early next week. Special ed, we needed 3. We hired 4, but ECSE, remember earlier the numbers, they go up and down. We got 2 ECSE teachers. We only currently need 1 based on the numbers, but the other one is also licensed for special ed, so they're gonna do a lower level. They're gonna meet this week to go over all the numbers on Wednesday. So they're all meeting to go over numbers, and then they'll put names to them. So there'll probably be a shift because we need help at ECSE because we don't know who's coming and going. And we don't wanna be caught with high numbers if we can proactively do that. And then there's science, special ed, so that special ed hires are Wednesday, the interviews. And then we talked about gym, so every position, and then EL, we've interviewed, we only had 1 applicant, which is more than what we previously had, fully licensed. Now the offer, and we're just waiting for the formal signature. You'll have that next month, but I'm very confident that you'll have that. We'll have, we won't need any tier 1 help there. So for hiring, we're ahead of the game, we're moving. And the AD, just so everybody knows, will be, as Kim's excited about, over 10 people on that committee. And for the first round, and on the second round, and that'll be consultative. They're just gonna put their score on a computer. That'll send it to a spreadsheet that Kim and I will see, and then I'll bring in one or two of the finalists just to meet with Kim and I. And then we'll hire from there and then bring that to you. So, but we're gonna have lots of people have input because our activities director, deals with a lot of coaches and a lot of families. So, no students will be, I didn't put a student in there. Normally I would, but not for that position. So it's mostly gonna be advisors, directors, and coaches have been invited. They still have to say yes because that'll be after school on a Monday, and we're not putting, money towards that. That'll be a volunteer if you wanna be part of it. Any questions?
All right, no questions. No, thanks, Adam. So 6.2 is committee reports. I don't think we have any.
Let's look over Judd's, if there's something.
Oh, yeah, Judd's, yeah, he's got his,
That came this morning. Those are gonna be coming out early with the rest of the packets from now on, hopefully. Unless there's a major emergency, so you have time to analyze that. So I'll talk to the team and make sure everybody knows that it's due to Kim by noon on Tuesday. And she can get everything out on Tuesday and Wednesday to you guys. And then if something pops up, like somebody signs their contract and we need to get it through, then we'll just throw that in. That's an emergency. But you should have a lot of that stuff ahead of time, so I apologize for that. I'll work with the team to do that.
well, Judd's basically covering, of course, we have graduation coming up. Looks like FFA week is coming up. State FFA is next week. The seniors had their class trip. Where do they go?
Didn't hear where they went.
Okay. Because in the government class went on their field trip, I guess. So of course, May 1st is prom, that's coming up pretty darn quick here. May 6th, FFA hosts our annual Ag Day at the elementary. A national BPA competition, 2 entrants will be going to that on the 6th of May.
That one I know, I believe is in Nashville.
Nashville, okay. And then graduation's on the 29th. So, Ben isn't here, I'm wondering, he may want to be part of graduation, his daughter's graduating. So, maybe not, but I think, Judd will look that out with him, if that's something he wants to
Yep,
do.
does anybody else I know I have it down in board discussion, but since we're talking, does anybody else would like to help with graduation?
I do want
Okay, yeah, and Ben, I've already talked to Ben,
Okay.
just to make sure, because I'm new, and I just wanted to make sure if you have a son, daughter, cousin, granddaughter, grandson, that we want you up there, we welcome it. So nieces, just, but if you want to be up there, let me know and we'll just arrange it because those are special times. So we want to make sure we're accommodating and have a nice plan ahead of time.
Sounds good. Okay, anything else you wanna?
It's okay, you're right.
Oh, whether you do it or not,
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, let's see, no committee reports. So we did start the discussion last time about student admission fees. Has anybody put a thought into that? What do you think? I think Jim said that our admission fees were on the lower end compared to neighboring schools, is that right? Did I remember that correctly? You weren't here.
Yeah, he said that they're lower, but I don't know, he had mentioned then with this new payment system, if they were gonna go to more of a universal.
Right, and then he talked about having that punch card that I think is underused.
Yeah.
I think we need to promote that a little bit more. And I know they talk about kids losing their punch card, but they don't seem to lose their cell phones. So hang on to that, and hang on to the punch card. But anyway.
This is Ben's, and we didn't know he was leaving. Do you guys want to table it?
Well, that's, yeah, I just wanted to bring it up again, but I think he should be here for the
Yeah.
more discussion.
If everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring
Yep.
it. This.
Okay. We're talking about graduation. Before we go to that strategic plan process, what about the school tour dates?
Yep, so May, Tuesday and Thursday, We have, now ideally, what works the best for the school is May 7th, doing a tour in the morning and afternoon, but May 5th in the morning also works. So I know we can have 3 at a time. So if you'd like to go, you just want to email me, I'll make a little spreadsheet and then I can put it out, not this Friday, but next Friday,
Sure.
of what works. And if
So it's
if
a
you
Tuesday
can't,
and Thursday.
Yep.
It's okay.
just pick more, like, I say I'm available Thursday afternoon, I'm available,
Would it be Monday, or Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon?
no, so Thursday, both sections are open,
And
but only Tuesday morning is open,
morning only on Tuesday.
based on the class schedule.
There's a concert that day.
Maybe that's why, yeah,
Okay.
That's probably.
yeah,
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Right. What time are you thinking in the morning?
So we start at 8:30,
Yeah.
so we can, maybe we can go as early as 8:30 to, how long does the tours, nobody's asked that one yet, so.
Okay, well, they're done.
Yeah,
Well, they're done.
then we'll go after lunch, so, we'll get those times to you. I apologize, nobody asked me that one, I just was told today, but the morning will start 8:30, and then, after lunch is done at 12:30.
Yeah.
Or elementary.
I feel like they've been like an hour long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only an hour?
Yeah, yeah, maybe two.
I think the
Okay.
last times we've eaten lunch with the kids, or been, they will sit there while somebody's gone through, so it has been over lunch before.
Or maybe you came first and had lunch and then did the tour.
I embarrassed my kids at
I
lunch.
know you did, yeah, I know you did.
So I'll come up with some times, I'll put it in there, but they'll be, that way you want it to be here right away.
Okay, so that's the school tour, yeah, we did graduation, so we have that, request for proposals on the strategic plan, so.
Yeah, so on there you should have the 4 proposals that came in and then a costing sheet of what each one costs. So, but thanks to some members, we noticed that not all the sheets were scanned. It did, some only did the odd pages and then some did them all, so I haven't quite figured that out on our copier. Thought it'd be the same, but you now have hard copies with the sheets clearly articulated. Some highlights is MSBA is not coming on site for their money. You can read that in their document. True North, the mileage isn't included, as you can read at the back of their proposal. Home Run Leadership, as some pointed out, it talks about city council on one of their pages. So,
Well, they also have the Grace Bill.
Yes.
Correctly several times.
yeah.
And they've got True North had.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Big River, it will be not their owner, it'll be the Owatonna former superintendent. He covers this area, he said he'll do a good job. Home Run, we get some added perks, they wanna do 6 on-site ones over the course, so maybe that's why it's a little bit more. He also has some online curriculum that we can have for a year. Big River Group, he's gonna wanna talk to you guys individually or through email to make sure that your views are expressed. So 1, 3, and 4, I like the most because they're all we're gonna have a meeting opportunity. Now, the city doesn't have to accept, but in each of our 3 cities, the meetings won't be here. We're gonna go out to them, and 1 and 4, for sure, we'll have students invited. Now, if they have events, or we'll be invited.
I think we get to generate some of those.
Right, I mean, when talking with like
Yeah,
MSBA for that money, it didn't look like they're coming.
No, I mean, I think we get to drive some of the,
Yes,
you know, where we're gonna be, how many meetings we would have, those kinds of things are kind of up to us, or who's gonna be a stakeholder.
yes, but some of them will articulated, 6 meetings, one knows it's 3 meetings.
Right.
But they all have the same criteria to bid off of. And we don't need to decide now, but you can if you want, or you can say, we wanna review this till next time. No,
Well, I'd like a little more time myself, too.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting that nobody proved things, and to me, that's an eye for
Yes,
detail.
yeah,
You can't get it right in a proposal for business.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
We've talked about that with hiring.
Exactly.
superintendents before too, like,
Exactly.
it's just, it
Yeah.
drives me nuts.
Yeah,
and very obvious, not just one little area.
Oh, no,
Millions,
no.
Yes.
And they must bid out a lot, because
obviously,
home run leadership
the strikeout.
thought he was going to just outbid MSBA, and it wasn't even close.
No,
Right.
no.
Right.
So, because 1 and 4 on your sheets are very communicative, they're very kind, very nice, outgoing. And some I was multiple calls to even get something, and then one was to the point, they did their stuff, emailed back and followed. But, so as you spend this month reviewing it, there,
And is that, MSBA's, is that how they always do it, where they don't go on site, or this is any option?
that's what so I gave her I let her craft the proposal because I'm very comfortable with MSBA.
Yeah.
And then I took theirs and then we created our own RFP based on what she said.
Yep.
And 1 and 4 were very impressed with the RFP, like, where did you get this, how did you come up with this? So they were very complimentary.
That disappoints me about MSBA, because I thought they really did a good job for us the last time
Yeah.
when we were
Right.
here.
And I too was wondering if there's more that we can we ask them some questions about other options about if we would want to do it another way, or we would want more, is there an option to have some on-site stuff, that kind of thing? Or is that just not something we offer?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Or do we have to go with what they proposed, because otherwise we're not apples to apples when we're looking at others. I don't know.
They all bid the same, I could ask.
Right,
But then I don't wanna have to call, because if they start asking about pricing, I don't wanna say, well, you're 12,000 more.
Sure.
Right, no, it's just that sometimes when you get a proposal like this, you just, there could be pages and pages of details that go with this that we're not seeing, or other options as well, so
Yeah.
it'd be nice.
I can call Gail, and this is different, MSBA Gail is different than MSBA Barb Dorney.
Oh, yeah, right.
What did it say in the RFP about what our expectations were? Because they didn't address our expectations.
Yeah, so you've all got a cut, you all got to see I had sent you another one, it was that I wanted, so to me, McCray is 3 communities, so when community meeting means we're gonna do one in each. They all knew I wanted, they know I want students, and they know I want a meeting in each of the 3 communities. They knew that piece, the rest was read the RFP, but they knew how important student voice is, and they know how important that every community has an opportunity. You don't just need to come here, we will go out to you.
So they didn't follow then, because they say one for internal stakeholders and one for external. That was just online surveys,
Which one you want?
MSBA.
Yeah, so to them, online, so some of them might do online surveys of reaching out to the community. Yeah. But I can reach out to Gail and ask him. That's not. Just to see how much more,
Nice and clarification.
yeah.
Because it says their strategic planning process is not boilerplate, the outline services can be customized to specific needs. But I'm assuming that would happen with any of them. I mean, they should be able to customize the service to their specific needs, so.
And they know I want to start in October, so we get the school year started, and we can do it from October to January. So that way people can be around.
Right, because it said this is a broad overview of our strategic planning. Yeah, and I noticed some of them already give you a little sample of a meeting agenda and stuff like that, and I thought, well, that's just all an example of what's going to be done, right,
Yeah.
right. So. Well, I would like some more time to
Yeah,
look at
please,
something
yeah.
like
And if you have something you want me to reach out and ask, I won't do anything this week. And then if you guys have different questions, then I can call them. And they've all been good about that. You know, True North was the second person. At first it was, I forget the name, we got the name from it. One of their partners reached out, yeah,
Right.
we asked her to be Julie. She must have
Oh,
been
yeah.
busy, so we got somebody else. But they've been very responsive, but, 1 and 4 are very responsive. But, just like we heard, 4 has, kept, called us the city council, I think he's on
Yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah.
so, and they're out of the, it's expensive. Number 1 as groups, they can lower the cost, but I told them I wasn't gonna talk about that because then I'm not comparing
Right.
not everybody can, you know, do that. So we'll just bring it up at the next.
Yep, we'll take that into the next one. Okay, we got everything on there? Okay. So, on 7, we've got, donations from the Dave Hooker Memorial to McRae Music Department for $1,000, $10 to MacPac in memory of Rita Tucson, and the Brady Highland Memorial benches for the tennis courts and track. So I need a motion to accept those donations.
I'll make that.
John, second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Go ahead, Margaret.
We'll do it tomorrow, okay? Yep. All right, any discussion on that? Those in favor of accepting those donations, say aye.
That's a resolution.
Oh,
We
that's
gotta do roll
resolution,
call.
that's
I missed
right.
that on my, sorry.
Okay, I thought maybe it was, and I thought it's not on here.
Yep,
All right.
my bad.
That's all right. Okay, so Deb. Yes. John, might be Mark, I'm sorry.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Carmel?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, so that's passing. Okay, good. All right, upcoming meetings are listed on the sheet there, so I'll need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Carmel says,
Second.
and John says, okay. Those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, we are adjourned at 7:08.